What was it about Johan Heldenbergh's play that made you want to adapt it, and what kind of challenges did adapting bring for you?
When I first saw it, I didn't know what to expect, and I was completely blown away by it and carried away. And it was a very emotional journey that touched me deeply, and in a way that I hadn't been touched before. So it really grabbed me, and I couldn't I couldn't let go of it. And it took me a while to decide that I wanted to make a movie of it, because it really wasn't easy, and the adaptation took a long time because of that. The reason why it wasn't easy was that the theatrical setup was extremely simple, but extremely effective at the same time. When you adapt something, you have to, when you adapt a book or a theater play into a movie, the movie has to find its own logic, and that's the hardest part. And this is the second time I do an adaptation. I had to do it in a completely different way than the other adaptations. So there's no trick to do that. And usually the first draft of your screenplay will be very close to the original in the form, and then you will have to, get away from that. And you need a lot of creativity, I guess. You need to try a lot of things to do that, and at some point really betray the original too, to, step away from. And usually what happened with me in last two films, is that the last version of the script and in editing you will come closer to the original, but in a completely different way.
When did you realize that Johan would be perfect for the leading role as a playwright himself?
But he did play in the original too. He was already the male lead, and I never questioned him. I think because his character is extremely close to himself. So, I really didn't see another Belgian actor do it better than him.
How much did you work with him on casting the rest of the roles?
Lots of energy went to casting Elise, and Johan was there for 3 days, I think, and we saw a bunch of actresses, and he sang with all them, so they had to prepare songs, and we did a couple of scenes. And he was involved, but I was the one who really made the decision, and it was a tough decision, because of those auditions I decided not to use the actress who was playing in the play, which was hard for him, because he preferred the girl with who he made the play. But the match with Veerle was just so magical that he really understood why I chose her, and it became, I had a different fantasy on that character, so I changed it a little bit.
Tell me about the bluegrass music in the film. How did you go about choosing the tracks that you did?
When you use music in a film, it has to help the narrative most of the time. So we couldn't afford to, to have a whole song just completely in the movie without the story moving forward. So while writing, I listened to a lot of bluegrass songs, and I started, trying to fit them in the story, and that's how they found their place in the film when it was finished, I guess. Well, during writing and then even in editing, we sometimes changed it. We cut out songs too, because they were not moving the story forward fast enough.
What do you hope that the audience will take away once they see the film?
It's a very emotional film. A lot of people cry, but that's not the most important thing, I think. For me, it's a very life-affirming film, so I hope they go home and hug their loved ones.
How did you feel about the 10-minute standing ovation you received at the Berlin Film Festival?
That was one of the best 10 minutes of my life, I think.
Can you tell me what's next for you? What can we look forward to?
I'm working on 2 other features. So I want to continue making films. I really like that. But it takes time, so it'll take another 2 or 3 years before you will see my next one. And the next one will be with, well, it will be a completely different film. After this bluegrass love story, I will do something with sex and drugs and rock and roll, I think.
Brilliant.